Awesome. Hello, everyone. How we doing? Come on, I need a little bit more energy than that. How we doing? Yeah. All right. Look, well, it's an honor to be here in front of you all. And, just being here and watching how you all have created friendships and have started your journey on becoming leaders, right? It's just been amazing to watch you all go through that. And so I hope that what I share with you all tonight is something that will inspire you, something that will impact you, something that will give you the ability to be able to see yourself as that future leader and to be successful as you desire to be. All right. And so we're going to get vulnerable tonight. We're going to get into it. It's going to be real. It's going to be raw. So I ask that you please open your minds, right? Listen, and don't be afraid to open up and just hear what I have to say tonight, right? I hope that you can really receive it. All right. And so tonight we're going to be talking about leading through adversity, right? Leading through adversity. And for me, that's something that's very important because as a leader, I feel like a lot of times we hit a brick wall. Right? And we have a hard time understanding or trying to figure out how do you fight through adversity when you're becoming a leader or when you're in your life, when you're going through your path, how do you fight through adversity, right? How do you stay on top? How do you continue to be someone who other people look up to, right? And so that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And so I just want to give you a little bit of background history about me first, just to get to know me a little bit before we get into it. So I did my undergrad at the University of New Hampshire. My undergrad degree was in Human Development Family Studies. And then I went and got my master's degree, also at UNH, in adolescent development. And then after I got that, I transitioned over into the academic office in Hood House, working with undeclared students. And so that was actually a really good experience, starting off as an advisor here. I did that for 2 years before I transitioned into the hall director position. But while I was also doing the academic job, I was also doing a part-time fitness instructor position out in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, when I also started motivational speaking. And after I did that, I transitioned to where I am now as a hall director, my second year in Peterson Hall. Go Peterson, the Bees. And so, as I was driving here this morning in the car with Gabby and who was I driving with? And Maddie, with Gabby and Maddie, I was thinking to myself, what makes me a leader, right? What makes me who I am? What sets me apart from my friends, my family, my colleagues, right? And the biggest question of them all, why am I here, right? Not just here at Camp Mytina, but what is the significance of my existence here on earth? And all of that started for me was back in high school. I was confronted with that question back in high school, right? So I grew up in St. Augustine, Florida, went to a high school named Pedro Menendez, graduated in 2014, 3.5 GPA. I was in an AVID program, which was a college readiness program, and I was a football star. I was an athlete, right? I ended up leaving college with 6 Division I football scholarships, the University of New Hampshire being one of them. But before those 6 Division I scholarships, that was just a goal of mine. Right? Many of you have goals. Many of you have dreams. That was a goal of mine. Because growing up in a single-parent home with not having much money, right, I knew that getting a football scholarship was the only way that I was going to be able to get a college degree. My goal was to make it to the pros to be able to change the financial situation for my family. And going through that, I experienced a lot of hardship. Going through that, I experienced a lot of different challenges to get there, right? I met adversity. I had a goal, but I was a leader at the same time. And that was what I was challenged with. And so while doing that, getting 6 Division I scholarships, again, like I said, the University of New Hampshire was one of them. I then get to the University of New Hampshire, and I begin to accomplish so many goals, right? I begin to become the first 2-time team captain in University of New Hampshire's history. I then become the strongest athlete pound for pound, which I still hold that record today. I set that record in 2016, right? So my goal of making it to the pros, I was doing every single thing that I needed to do in order to get there. Every single thing that I knew that I needed to do as a freshman, as a sophomore, as a junior, I did every single thing the correct way. Just enough for my teammates to vote me as captain twice. I was the first person to ever do that. Normally they don't elect captains when they're a junior. But because of the goals, the dreams that I had, and how dedicated and how disciplined I was to it, they saw me fit to be leader twice. And then after that, I became the first person in my family to get a master's degree. First person in my family to get a master's degree. That wasn't my original plan. It wasn't my original goal. Again, my goal was to come to college to play football to make it to the pros. But the way that life turned out, it just so happened that I was able to get a grad degree. And so as I begin to go through these challenges, as I begin to get higher and higher within my position at UNH, I began to experience a time and a moment where it got so close to where I was able to achieve my dream of going to the pros. I was in my junior year. There's NFL scouts coming out. They're watching me at practice. They're watching other guys at practice. This is my moment. This is it. This is my moment. This is it. And the only thing that I remember is it was spring practice, and it was one night in my room in Adams Tower with two of my roommates, and I was telling them it was about 10:30 at night. I said, guys, we only have 5 practice left. All we have to do is stay healthy, continue to fight, continue to practice hard, right? 4 practice with the 5th one being the spring game. And then we get to go home. We get to spend time with our family over the summer. Then we get to come back, train hard as a team over the summer, transition into a fall season, and have a successful season. That's all we got to do, guys. My first roommate was like, yeah, Trey, I can't wait, man. I can't wait to see my little brother again. Can't wait to fly back out to Washington. It's going to be good. My second roommate said, I haven't seen my sister in so long. She's flying in from out of town. It's going to be great to get the family together. I was like, guys, this is going to be great, right? We went down memory lane, and we're just talking about how we love our family so much, and all we have to do is fight through these last couple of practice. So we get in bed. It's about 11:45 p.m., and I'm laying down. We turn the lights off. I'm staring at the roof, and I hear a voice in my head tell me, are you ready to achieve these dreams and these goals? And I was like, yeah, it's a piece of cake. I've been doing this since high school, right? Through all the hardships, I've been doing this. Like, it's nothing, yeah, without a doubt. I roll over to my left side, stare at the wall, fall asleep. Wake up the next morning, 5 a.m., I make my way down to the training room. I get dressed, I get ready. I have my pads on. We get out to the field, and we're in the middle of a scrimmage practice. And as a running back on the offense and as a 2-time team captain, right, you're expected to be a leader. You're expected to bring the guys along and to make sure that everyone is practicing hard. But in this moment, defense was kicking our butts. We couldn't get a yard. They were bringing the juice. They were talking trash. They were sacking us in the backfield. We couldn't do anything. My head coach walked by me. He tapped me on the leg. He said, Bryant, bring them up. Bryant, pick the pace up. Bryant, get these guys going. So in my head, I said, I have to do something at this moment. I need to get the offense together to where all the cylinders are clicking in order for us to be able to move the ball down the field. It's 3rd and 1. All we need is 1 yard to get the first down. It's 3rd and 1. I look to the side. Coach give us a signal. It's a run play. So I'm getting the ball. So at this moment in time, as the big guy on the field, as a 2-time team captain, someone who has the opportunity to change the pace of practice, because I'm getting the ball this play, I knew that I only had to get 1 yard. The quarterback says height. I take a jab step across. I grab the ball. I'm making my reads with the offensive line, and the line begins to crash down, which forces me to bounce it to the outside. And as I bounce to the outside, reaching the line of scrimmage, the safety fits down. We hit head up. It sounded like 2 Mack trucks running head up at 100 miles per hour. We're grunting. We're fighting. He's running his feet. I'm running my feet. The equal forces begin to make us run laterally down the line of scrimmage. And in my head, I know that all I have to do is to get 1 yard. All it takes is for 1 extra push. I've been given 1 extra push my entire life. So what changes now? He was 220 pounds. I was 180 pounds. But I was the strongest athlete pound for pound, so I was holding my weight at the line of scrimmage. So in my head, my plan was to grab his chest plate, to stick my left foot into the ground, to throw him by so that I could run forward. But as I begin to do that, I jab my left foot into the ground, and the linebacker jumps over the offensive lineman. He tips my hip. My body twists awkwardly as my cleat gets stuck in the ground. Pow! My knee snaps. I tore my ACL, my MCL, both medial meniscus, and my patellar tendon, all in 1 snap. At that moment, I knew my entire life had changed. Every single thing that I worked for went down the drain. Screaming, laying on the ground. I'm on my left side, I'm screaming, and it was silent on the field. I began to roll over like a panoramic view in slow motion. Every single person was standing there looking at me with their eyes huge, big, wide open. And as I rotate over to my right side, my eyes land on my position coach. He turns his head, he walks off the field. I began to look at my head coach, who puts his head down. He takes the whistle, he blows it, and he says, move the ball up 10 yards. No one moved. No one said a word. He said, move the ball up 10 yards. The guys slowly began to move. It was almost as if they were questioning him like, Coach, this is our main guy. Are we really going to continue practice? Eventually, everyone moves the ball up 10 yards. And as I begin to hear the game that I love, the game that I planned on getting me to the next level in order to change that financial situation for my family, continue to go without me, that's when I lost everything. I lost my dedication. I lost my motivation. I lost my status of being a leader for the team. I lost every single thing that I worked hard for. Every single one of you are working so hard for something right now. Whether that's the relationship with someone in your family, whether that's trying to accomplish a goal with your academics, right? But when you get to that point in that place to where you feel like you're about to break through and then something uncontrollably happens to you to where it doesn't go the way that you expected, that's the moment when you feel worthless. That's the moment when you feel like every single thing that you worked for, the name that you created, the leadership position that you put yourself into, you felt like it was in vain. And I asked myself, why? Why me? As I begin to look up to the sky, the trainers run over to me. They're trying to talk to me. Their voices are fading out. I can't speak back to them. I'm in so much pain. But at the same time, I'm so disappointed in what just happened, all because I tried to give one more push. All because I tried to do more than the guy next to me. I ended up being the one that lost his dream, that lost his chance and his opportunity to play the game that he loved and the game that he did so well in. So again, the question is, right, how do you lead through adversity? How do you lead through adversity? Here I am, two-time team captain. Just towards ACL, MCL, medial lateral meniscus, patella tendon all in one. I had to go through 2 different surgeries. I can't play my senior year. I lost everything. But the coaches and the teammates still demanded me to be their leader. They still looked towards me for leadership. Here I am, depressed, anxiety out of the roof. My confidence is gone. I'm weak. I'm challenged with my own personal challenge. And here it is, I have 70 other guys, including the coaching staff, that's still looking towards me to be their guy, to lead them into battle, to lead them into the games on Saturday, to bring them up, to coach them up. How do you handle that weight when you're dealing with your own personal situation? And I'm pretty sure every single one of you, through your journey, has been dealing with things, right? Your own personal journey where there's still people who are asking things from you, and you're trying to figure out, how is it that I can give this person all of me when I'm dealing with my own situation? But see, when we go through hardships, we begin to forget that we are leaders and that we are so much more than what we make ourselves to be. And because you are more is required of you, right? A leader's ability to lead is based on what they are willing to give, not get. So can you continue to give your teammates? Can you continue to give your sister, your brother, your mother, every single thing that you have, even when you're dealing with your own situation? I watched my mother do it. In a single-parent home, I watched her sacrifice so much, right? And that's the reason why I set these goals that I had. That's the reason why I wanted to become the leader that I became in my community and still am today. Every single one of you are in position to become an impactful person in your communities next year, on your hall, on your floor. Whether you try to become an RA, whether you try to take a campus position, whatever it is, you're going to be in a leadership position, and there are going to be people that are going to require certain things from you, even when you're struggling with your own obstacles. I watched my mom do it, right? So a leader's ability to lead is based on what they're willing to give, not get. Take advantage of your challenges, right? It's so important for us to take advantage of our challenges as leaders, because those challenges that you go through, those challenges that you run into, they bring about purpose, right? And I would love to ask you, what's your purpose? What's your goal? What's your dream? What is it that you want to do in life, right? The question that I asked in the beginning, why am I here? What's the significance of my existence? Have any of you ever asked yourself that question? Have any of you ever been in that position to where you ask, what am I doing here? What type of value, what type of worth do I have, right? I've been in that position, right? So you have to take advantage of that because, again, those challenges, those thoughts, those bring about purpose. And then with the purpose, right, that purpose is then driven by the passion that you get from the experience that you go through of the challenge. Anything that when I went through my injury, it broke me down. But as I began to fight through it, as I began to get up and walk through the depression, because I knew that I had 70 other guys depending on me as their captain, as their leader to push through. When I saw that there was a bigger picture than just me, I developed so much passion towards pursuing my purpose. And at the time, I didn't know what my purpose was because I thought that my mission, my dream, my goal was to become an NFL player. But that was out of the mix. So I was in this gray area, in this gray space, trying to figure out what is it that I'm going to do? How can I be a leader when I don't even know where my path is going? But here's the thing. The common denominator of all of my goals is to be successful. And the crazy thing is, I thought that the only way that I could be successful is by wearing a shoulder pad and helmet. I didn't realize that there are so many other people in this world that don't put on shoulder pads and a helmet and that are so successful and that are out here making moves and changing the world. But it took for me to go through that experience. It took for me to take advantage of my challenge, for me to understand that I'm so much more than just a football player. You're so much more than just a student at UNH. You're so much more than just a dancer. You're so much more than just a singer. You're so much more than just a daughter or a son. You're so much more. And until you understand that, until you learn to take advantage of your situation, you're going to continue to find yourself depressed. You're going to continue to find yourself in those dark areas. You're going to continue to find yourself asking yourself why, right? Asking yourself why. And so as you begin to find a purpose from that challenge, and as that purpose is then driven by the passion that you get from the experience of that challenge, then it's going to be navigated by the plan that you create in order to make that purpose, right? In order to make that purpose be fulfilled. So we got to create a plan. So how do leaders maintain their leadership through adversity, right? Leadership rests itself on a foundation of core values, beliefs, and vision. As a leader, what I want you all to understand is that you have to have values. You have to have something that you believe in. You have to have a vision of where you want to go. If you want to be an impactful leader within your family, impactful leader on your community floor next year, if you want to be an impactful leader anywhere in this world, you have to have values. You have to have something that you believe in. You have to have a vision, because every single time you make the decision to try to advance, to become great, to do something better, opposition is going to come your way. There's no growth without pain. And where there's pain, growth is in the midst. But the growth will only happen if you take time to water it. When you say, Trey, how do I water my growth when I'm in pain? Right? Self-awareness, reflection. Taking the time to sit down and think about your feelings, your emotions, your experience. What did you say when you were going through those emotions? What did you say when you were going through those things? Right? When I went through my situation, I was depressed, suicidal ideation. I was at the lowest state ever. Everyone always seen me as lion-hearted Trey. But for this moment in my life, I wasn't. I felt like there was no one to talk to. I felt like all my goals and dreams was a fantasy. I felt like no one was there to support me because I was in a high position, right? As a leader, who do you fall to? Which is why it's important for you to know who's in your circle. I remember one night sitting in the car, late night, in the parking lot. The building that I lived in was to my right. A bunch of trees were to my left. And in front of me was the road that went straight across. And I couldn't see right or left. The only thing that I could see was across the street was a house, a home, that had a long driveway and cars that drove by. Left, right. And in my head, thinking that my life was over, thinking that I amounted to nothing, thinking that I was now useless. Because see, as men in this world, they tell us we can't cry, we can't show emotions. Your only job is to provide and protect. And when you can't do that, we can't use you. You're not valuable. That's what was going through my head. So every single thing that I planned on accomplishing was out the window. I remember my hand sitting on the steering wheel cold and the tears dropping from my eyes. And the slightest thought went through my head and said, if I just drove this car across this street as fast as possible into this driveway and possibly get hit from the side, would anyone care? Would anybody think about me? Would anybody think to even say Trey was dealing with something? Because they always saw me as lion-hearted Trey, would anybody care? Would anybody take the time to check on me? And in that moment that my foot began to breeze upon the gas, my phone lights up. I look down, it's a text message from one of my friends. She said, hey Trey, I just wanted to check up on you, just let you know that I love you and I believe in you. And after I read that text, tears began to roll down my eyes. I took my hand off the steering wheel. I took my foot off the gas. And I just sat there and I thought that there's no way that it's over for me. There's no way that I can't fight through my adversity. There's no way that I can't take advantage of my challenge, right? There's no way that I can't maintain my leadership through this because someone still believes in me. Someone still believes in you, right? Those values, those beliefs, those visions. I had to think back on my values. I had to think back on what it is that I believed. And I believed that I was great. I believed that I was born to do something bigger than everyone else in my community where I came from. I believed that there was something on the table for me as long as I did the right thing, as long as I treated people with love, as long as I made sure that I worked hard every single day. I believed that there was something for me, right? Vision. You have to be able to see where your life is going. You have to have a plan. You have to dream so big that it doesn't even make sense. After my injury, I've been telling people that I'm going to speak all over the world. If I can't play the game of football, I'm going to speak the game of football. You hear it, you hear the passion in my voice when I speak. I honestly feel like I'm on a football field right now. All I did was transfer it over. No one believed me when I told them that I was going to be speaking all over the world. No one believed me when I told them that I was going to reach so many people. Everyone doubted me. As the leader that I presented myself to be in the community, so many people who supported me, those same people doubted me when I told them that I was going to still be successful. And I'm pretty sure every single one of you have been in a position to where you wanted to do something, but you've been afraid to talk about it because the people around you talk negative. They doubt you. They don't even think that you can do it. Again, how do we lead through our adversity? The way that I think about it, the picture is way bigger than me. I have little sisters. I have a little brother. I have a mom. I have a dad. I have so many people that depend on me. There's no way that I can lay down right now because the little brother that's watching me go through this, the guys back at my high school that play football that look up to me, when they see me go through my situation, they're going to watch every single step. I didn't get up off of that field and say, Trey, I'm going to continue to keep going for my benefit. It wasn't for me. It was for something greater, bigger, and deeper than me. And because I did that, that's what allowed me to get up on my feet. That's what allowed me to walk forward within my leadership. It went from me being able to play the game of football to now having to use my voice more on the field. I remember the first game against UMaine that came across and I wasn't able to play. I began to cry because I was on the sideline with crutches. And I tried to figure out, how do I impact my team now that I can't play? We got to stop limiting ourselves, right? I limited myself to only being able to perform on the field. But now I had to switch over. I had to start using my voice. So what is it that you're limiting yourself on as leaders? What is it that you're stopping yourself from doing because you think that you can't do it? Because you've limited yourself to such a box. Again, you are more. You are greater. There's so many more things that you can do in life, but you have to sit down and reflect. You have to taste test. You have to try different things. I had to change my leadership style from doing the actions, right, by leading by example, to now using my voice. Now talking to guys, holding them accountable, doing the right things on the field and off the field. I had to accept the fact that I wasn't going to be able to play anymore and that my position switched from being on the field to now being on the sideline to being that captain that everyone still saw me fit to be. Being that captain that everyone voted me in to be twice, right? Values, belief. I don't drink. I don't smoke. And the reason why I don't is because of the experiences and the things that I've had in my life. And so when you think about your goals, when you think about your passions, when you think about being a leader, when you ask yourself, why is my goal my goal? Why do I have this, right? It comes from the experiences. It comes from the things that you've been involved in life. It comes from what you've experienced in life. Growing up, there was never a family reunion that we could go to without my uncles fighting because they were drunk. And as a little kid, growing up and seeing that and realizing that every single time they pick up that bottle, these behaviors begin to happen, I begin to put two and two together and to say that it's not him, it's what's in that bottle that's influencing it. They're fighting every single time. We can never have a great time with our family. Everyone starts to go home early because they drink. Alcoholism runs in my family. Alcohol just tried to take my older sister from me. It doesn't run well in our family. I don't know what it does, but when it touches the Bryant blood system, it doesn't do well. So for me, that's a value. So in college, when I got invited to parties, when I was with the guys, when I was out doing every single thing that every college person does, I didn't drink or smoke, and I was never feeling like I was under the pressure when people asked me to, because that was a value that I believed in, and that was something that I was going to stay steady to, because I know how that bottle reacts to my family. I know what it does to my family. It tore my family apart. I value family. I value friendships. My father wasn't in my life at the time that he should have been. He was inconsistent. He was in and out. I got tired of having to look to my high school teammates, look towards their dad for another male figure. At the time when I began to start discovering parts of my body going through puberty, I didn't want to talk to my mom about sex. There were things that I needed from my father that I couldn't get because he wasn't there. I wanted to push him out of my life. I wanted to forget him. But I had two best friends. They were brothers. And to me, blood couldn't make us any closer. But I had two best friends that were brothers that lost their father when they were younger. He drowned. And because I value friends and family so much, Trey, how dare you condemn your father when he's still alive? And you have two best friends who you hang out with every day who would love to have their father inconsistently in their life. So think about the things that you've been kind of inconsiderate about. Yeah, it hurts. Yeah, my dad didn't do what he was supposed to do. But I have the ability to say that I'm still thankful that he's alive. That's how I know I haven't reached my biggest challenge yet. I haven't met my biggest adversity yet because my mom and dad are still alive. So I know I haven't run into the hardest challenge of my life yet. I know there's still more to go. But through that path, I'm going to make sure that I continue to keep setting these goals, continue to keep setting these values, right? Because that's what's going to get me to become so successful. That's what got me to the place to where I am now. That's why I'm able to stand on stages and to speak to people from all ages. Because of the vision, the beliefs, and the values that I have. In order to be a good leader, you're going to have to define your values. You're going to have to define your beliefs. You're going to have to create that vision, and you're going to have to stick to it because people are going to challenge you all. There's going to be times on your floor next year where people are going to challenge you. Some of you may become RAs. Your residents are going to challenge you. And what is it that you believe in, right? As you begin to go into the workforce and you become a manager, or you guys become CEOs, or you become a doctor, or you become a lawyer, those dreams, whatever it is that you have, when you reach those positions, what's going to sustain you? What's going to keep you there? It's going to be those beliefs, those values, and that vision. And so, as I begin to go through this journey, go through this path, right, you wonder, Trey, well, how did you come out of your suicidal ideation? How did you begin to get back up and become successful? How did you continue to go on your path, right? As a leader, as a person who's setting goals and you're trying to get to a certain place, in order for you to sustain and to be that leader that you want to be, you have to embrace every single thing about you. I embrace me, and that's why I'm free. You've seen it on the back of my hoodie today, if you paid attention to it. I live by that quote. It's my quote. I created it when I created my brand, Talking with Trey. I embrace me, and that's why I'm free. What is it about you that you don't embrace? Is it the fact that you're not 6'5"? Is it the fact that you got hurt in high school playing volleyball, the game that you love, and you wanted to go to college and play in it? Is it the fact that your mother or your father don't get along and they blame you for everything and all you do is try to better yourself? What is it about your lifestyle? What is it about the things that you've experienced that you have not accepted yet that's not allowing you to become the effective leader that you all are? It's a reason why you're in here. Maddie told you this morning. The reason why you all are here is because your hall director saw something special within you, and they know that you have the ability to become effective leaders on your floor next year. To become effective leaders on campus, to become effective leaders in your communities at home. There's a reason why you're here. But while you're here, I want to ask you, what is it that you have not accepted about yourself that's not allowing you to reach that goal, to reach that dream? You look at somebody and you say, I wish I was as confident as him. I wish I was as confident as her. Why can't you be? What is it that you haven't accepted? I accept the fact that my beard does not connect in the middle here. It just won't. I accept it. I accept the fact that I had a huge injury that stopped me from going to the pros. I accept the fact that I grew up in a single parent home. I accept the fact that there is jobs, there is corporations that want to set me because I have dreadlocks and they see it as unprofessional. I accept the fact that I have 6 sisters and one of them who I haven't seen because of the inconsistency of my father who didn't keep us together when we were young. And I accept the fact that because my father wasn't in my life, right, I was the one who had to be the bigger and the better person to go have that conversation with my father to let him know how I felt in order to let it go so that I can accept the fact that he wasn't there and that I can move on from it. I accept the fact that there's a lot of opportunities that I wanted to get. There's a lot of things that I wanted to do that I got turned down on. I accept it all. I embrace me. There's nothing that you can come to me about, to pick on me or to doubt me about that's going to affect me. Why? Because I am.
And it sounds like a good plan, but if you don't embrace every single thing about you, when you make that decision to go and to try to accomplish that dream and that goal, it's going to hit you where it hurts. Life is going to hit you where it hurts. It's going to break up those insecurities. It's going to break up all of it. And if you haven't dealt with it yet, if you haven't embraced every single thing about it yet, it's going to tear you down. It's going to push you 2 steps back every single time. So I want you to just say it to yourself in your head. I embrace me and that's why I'm free. I embrace every single thing about me that allows me to be free mentally. That allows me to move with the confidence that I have. That allows me to smile even when nothing is going the way that I need it to. Even when I'm tired. Even when I'm depressed and hurt, I'm still able to smile because I know and I understand that even though they may say that I'm less than a man because I cried, I understand that being vulnerable allows me to have the opportunity and the ability to allow people to come into my space, to be able to feel comfortable, to talk to me about what it is that they're going through. It's a gift. A lot of you have gifts that are looked down upon. And you allow the thoughts and the ill intentions of others to become your thoughts. We were not born thinking that we're not capable of achieving our dreams and our goals. We were not born disbelieving in ourselves. That's not a natural thought or feeling. Think about your body. Anytime you get into a body of water for a long time, what happens? Your skin begins to frail up, right? Helps you move through the water. Your body adapts to everything. You are adaptable. You can accomplish any single thing that you go through in life. But you can't allow the ill thoughts, the ill words of others, that the things that they're saying to you to become your thoughts and your feelings. So how are you filtering those things out? Who's in your friend group? Who's in your leadership group that's not serving you well? That's not bringing value to the group? Who? Right? I embrace me and that's why I'm free. Every single thing that we go through in life, y'all, there's going to be a rise, there's going to be a fall. And I think a lot of times
in the falling part, way too much, right? And I know that in your activity today, you talked about the fear of failing, right? Am I correct? Was there a part in there today where it talked about the fear of failure, right? When we eliminate the fear of failing, we eliminate failing due to fear. I would rather you fail at something because you attempted it so many times and it's just not for you, than you to not attempt because you were afraid and to leave not knowing what you could have accomplished. When you eliminate the fear of failing, you eliminate failing due to fear. Never fail due to fear. If there's something that you want to do, if there's something that you want to accomplish, don't stop yourself because you are afraid. Failing is good because every single time you fail, you get the answers to the test. You take those answers back, you reassess, you look at it, right? You study, you plan, and then you go back and you attempt again. And every single time that you attempt, you get closer and closer and closer and closer to becoming that person that you want to become, to achieving those dreams and those goals, to getting into those positions to where people who laughed at you are now asking you, how did you do it? And it's all simply because I wasn't afraid. When you eliminate the fear of failing, you eliminate failing due to fear. I remember back in college, one of my teammates, they were moving out of a house into a beach house in Hampton Beach. His father asked us, he said, hey guys, we're moving out. I was wondering if you guys can come up this weekend and help us move some stuff over to our new beach house. And we're like, yeah, for sure. We move our stuff over. We get there to the house. And when I tell you this beach house was beautiful, oh my goodness. It was like something that I seen on a movie. And as I get in, right, my teammate, his mom, Miss Balsamo, a.k.a. Coco, is what we call her. She begins to give us a tour through the house. And as I walk in the house, I begin to see the wooden floor so shiny I can see my reflection. And I tell you, the reflection of this African royal black skin is beautiful, y'all, you know? And so I see my reflection in the floor. It's a 2-story house, and she's walking us through, and we're looking at the marble top counter. We're looking at the fridge, how it's just so huge. There's so many different compartments and so many bathrooms, and the showers are all glass, and it's just a beautiful house, flat screen TV. She takes us upstairs where she's showing us all these different rooms, and I begin to just start saying like, yo, this is awesome. This is great. And so I'm walking behind Miss Balsamo, and she takes us into the master room, and I say, Miss Balsamo, I was like, you know, I think that your marriage is ideal, and I want to have this one day. I want to have it. The relationship that you have between your husband, Mr. Balsamo, like I've never seen y'all argue. Just the way you all communicate with how you deal with your son, like it's so perfect. And this is coming from me who grew up in a single-parent home who has no idea of how two parents co and work together. Right? And so she was like, oh, honey, thank you so much. Right? As we begin to walk out, she walks me onto the deck that oversees the ocean. And we're standing out, and I'm looking, and I see the cars driving by beneath me, looking over. You have the water that's crashing against the wall. And I said that to her, and she said, honey, she was like, thank you so much, but I just want to let you know, like, this wasn't easy. My marriage is not perfect. She was like, my husband, he's a great leader. He's a really great leader, but that doesn't mean that I don't want to strangle him sometimes. And I was like, yeah, I can see that. But still, like, it's, you know, I was like, it's perfect. Like, I never see anything wrong. Like, y'all have the perfect setup, you know? And she was like, well, there's always a rising and a falling. Falling is just better when you have someone to do it with, right? And as she said that, she walked back in, and it kind of didn't resonate. It kind of didn't hit me at the moment. And I'm like, what is she talking about? And so I turn over, and I'm leaning over the balcony, and I'm watching the people riding their bikes, and I see the cars go by, and I begin to look at the water. And there was one wave that just so happened to form that was bigger than the rest. And as I begin to see that wave form and begin to crash over, just that quick second summed up every single thing that she just told me. Summed up every single thing that I just explained to you to what I experienced. There's a rising and a falling, and it happens over and over, just like a wave. But that falling piece is where perspective comes in. That falling piece is never failure. That falling piece is every single thing that you went through as that wave begins to form, which represents all the success, which represents all the different paths and doors that you had to go through in order to get there. When you get to your top, when you hit the peak of something, as you begin to crash down, right, as the wave did, when that crash hits, that represents the impact that you make. That represents the knowledge that you give to the ones that are connected to you. That represents the relationships that you have with people and the love that you pour into them. Because as a wave begins to crash over, it goes right back into the ocean. It spreads out, and the gravity pulls it right back into the ocean. So as you become leaders, as you become the person that you want to become, how much value are you pouring out? Every single time you plateau and you begin to go hit another stage in life, what type of knowledge are you giving back? What type of knowledge are you receiving? Right? Now you see how my mind works. I saw this wave, y'all, and all of this information began to come to me all through a wave. After what Miss Balsamo said, there's always going to be a rising and a falling, and it's never going to stop. It's never going to stop. It's never going to stop. But how bad do you want it, right? That's what matters. How bad do you want it? And, you know, I just want to say that you all wrote those dreams. You all wrote those goals, right? The Be More goals. And I want you to stick to it. I want you to continue to keep pushing and stick to it. Because there are going to be times where it seems like that goal is unachievable. But if you continue to keep pushing, if you continue to keep climbing, if you continue to keep seeking knowledge and information from the people who you are around, and you continue to put good people around you, people who have dreams and goals that align with your dreams and goals, right? If you continue to put yourself around those people, you're going to be successful. Be mindful, self-aware. We want you all to have fun here. We brought you all here to have this experience, right? So as you continue to keep making relationships with each other, as you continue to be vulnerable and to open up to each other and talk to each other about your dreams and goals, form those bonds, form those relationships, because you never know who's going to have to hand you a cup of water one day. My grandma always told me, always treat people right. You never know who's going to have to hand you that cup of water one day. You never know who in here is going to become that big lawyer that your company needs as a CEO because some crazy person tried to sue you, right? You never know. And that connection starts here tonight, today. Thank you all for having me. That's my time. I appreciate it. Woo.